Life Audio.
Welcome to the Team Us podcast, where we share how grace, commitment, and cooperation can help couples live the everyday moments of marriage together. Hey, everybody, we are Ted.
And Ashley Slater. So what if splitting chores isn't just about being fair, but about truly serving each other? Marriage isn't built on dishes and laundry, but how we handle them matters. In today's episode, we'll talk about one system for dividing chores that's based on what's fair. But we won't stop there. We'll take it a step further by looking at how we can move past fairness to serving each other well. So, Ted.
Yes, my dear.
In the last episode, we talked about shared purpose and how it can sometimes get lost when marriage turns into a series of jobs.
Yes, a series of jobs.
But
I want to interrupt real quick here. I really liked where you said marriage isn't built on dishes and laundry.
It's not.
That was really clever.
Nice.
Anyway, carry on. Sorry for interrupting.
Well, but the truth is that the job of dishes and laundry and running a household together is part of the deal, right?
Yes.
So today we're discussing that topic. We're talking about how, as couples, we can split chores up in a way that keeps us working as a team.
Nice.
Because it's not really about who does the dishes or takes out the trash. It's about finding a system that works for both of us.
Unless one person does the dishes much better than the other, in which case it does matter.
That's true. Yes, we do want those dishes clean.
We do. Must have them clean.
All right.
Yes.
But before we dive in,
let's
play a guessing game.
Yeah.
So in 2024, a place called Cinch Home Services surveyed over 1,000 people and asked them what their most hated chore was.
Hated chores, okay?
They have a list of 20.
Okay.
So can you guess some of the things that made the list?
Yeah, well, from personal experience, I would say for me, it was maybe pet related, like cleaning a litter box.
Yes. Well, cleaning up after pets was number 10.
Okay, I would have had that near the top.
You have a fresh appreciation for how hard it is because you had to handle that for a couple weeks.
It's not hard. It's just gross.
Yeah.
And not rewarding.
No.
Maybe laundry, because it's these things that you have to do again and again, and they're never done. Like laundry and dishes are never done. You got them today,
right.
You got them tomorrow, you got them the next day. Maybe something like that would be a chore that.
Okay. Well, number 5 was folding laundry.
Okay.
Which is something I don't really mind.
Okay.
And then you said dishes.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay. 7 was hand washing dishes. And number 19 was unloading the dishwasher.
All right. Well, tell me what's like near the top there.
Okay. Well, number 1.
Drum roll.
Was cleaning the toilet.
All right. Well,
I don't mind cleaning the toilet. Unclogging the toilet is another.
Well, in our household, the toilet doesn't get dirty.
That's so
We have
true.
a special arrangement with the world.
Well, and we have hard water here. I mean, we have a water softener.
Well, water
so,
softener.
like, in general, our water tends to be softer. But I'm not sure if it is in the toilets because we end up with those rings, which maybe just says we don't clean it enough.
Anyway, this is getting gross. Let's move on.
All right. Okay. Well, so let me just tell you the top 5.
Yes.
The top 5 were cleaning the toilet, removing hair from the drains.
I actually like that because it's rewarding. You get it out and then the drain flows smoothly.
Good. I don't feel so guilty then about all my hair that's in the drain.
That's rewarding for me. And it's so gross. I like showing this stringy glob of sink
This
goop.
is definitely getting gross, isn't it? All right. Cleaning the bathroom, unclogging the kitchen sink. So people do not like unclogging sinks. Folding laundry.
Okay.
All right, might as well go 6 to 10 also.
Sheesh.
Cleaning the oven.
Yeah.
I do not like that.
Yeah.
Hand washing dishes, ironing, cleaning the fridge, and cleaning up after pets.
Very nice. These are all chores that one is probably going to be faced with the opportunity of doing.
Yeah, I mean, they have to get done.
They've got to get done.
Or things stop working.
Yeah, you've heard the stories of the people who've got pets and they don't clean up after them. And then, Anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well,
let's move on.
While I was researching for this episode, one system I came across is from author Eve Rodsky. I read an article she wrote for Time magazine that's based on her New York Times best-selling book titled Fair Play, a game-changing solution for when you have too much to do and more life to live.
Ooh.
And I've not read the book, but that's a compelling title, right? But in the article, she talks about creating a system with her husband to make sure the responsibilities at home were divided fairly. And she called the system Fair Play.
Fair Play.
So the idea is that it's a figurative game you play with your spouse where each person holds quote unquote cards that represent different household tasks they're responsible for. And Eve says that there are four rules that set couples up to play the game. So you want to hear the rules?
I do. I mean, so far it sounds reasonable. It sounds like a helpful little tool.
It does. Yeah.
Let's hear it.
It's really interesting. So rule number one that Eve has is all time is created equal. So basically, both husband and wife need to commit to the idea that their time is equally valuable. And when they truly believe that, the division of labor gets a lot more balanced.
I think it's arrogant for people to think that maybe if they make more money per hour on average, their time is more valuable. That's baloney.
Right.
That's arrogance. So yeah, your time is worth as much as mine. Mine's is worth as much as yours. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I may have an occupation that, brings in more revenue, but our time's equally valuable.
Right. And this really stemmed from, she told the story in the article of how her husband called her. She was at the airport and her husband calls her from home and says, hey, some guy left a jacket and a beer bottle on the lawn.
Oh, that was me. I should have gone and picked it back up. I'm so sorry. Sorry,
and
dude.
She comes home 16 hours later, pulls into the driveway.
Yes.
The jacket and the beer bottle are still in the yard.
Yeah. Well, if that were me, I would have done the same thing because I want you to be like, yeah, okay, I believe you now.
Okay, well, he could have
there really was
a
a jacket.
And that just made her go, wait a minute.
Wait.
Was he telling me because he expected me to clean it up when I got home? That's where this kind of stemmed from.
Part of it. Yep, I assume that's part of it.
So anyway, rule number 2 is reclaim your right to be interesting. So when we're buried under like the never-ending to-do list, it's really easy to lose sight of our passions and not have time for them, right? So this rule is about making sure both spouses carve out time for what is life-giving to them and not just time for what needs to be done.
So 24/7 should not just be folding laundry and doing dishes and cleaning up after the pets and mowing the lawn. And
no, although it feels like that sometimes, right?
Sometimes.
Okay, rule number 3.
Yep.
Start where you are now. So this one I think is super practical because it's about evaluating and communicating to figure out what we actually need when it comes to sharing responsibilities. So, maybe we're saying, hey, I want these responsibilities split more fairly or evenly, and I want more acknowledgement for what I'm already doing. Or maybe it's, I want more time for other things. So it starts with this honest conversation of saying, hey, I want to do this because this is what I want to get out of it.
Start where you are now.
Yeah.
All right.
And rule number 4 is establish.
And these rules come from where?
They come from
Fair Play.
Yes, Fair Play.
Okay.
They come from Eve Rodsky, and I read it in a Time article, but she has a book that the article is based on, and the book is called Fair Play.
Okay. Rule number 4.
Rule number 4 is establish your values and standards. And this is where couples get clear about what tasks actually matter for their family and which ones don't. Like she gave the example of, do you really want to do a homemade breakfast every day, or is that something that's not really a priority? So like for me, I might clean the baseboards every few months, but it's not a priority for me that the baseboards get cleaned every week.
Interesting. No, that's a good point. I've known people who are fastidious, and I have not used that word like in 20 years, about their carpets. And like, I remember I used to spend some time over at this person's place, and like regularly during the visit even.
Really?
They'd vacuum the carpet. And my thought is it's taking care of your property, and that's good.
Good stewardship.
But maybe that time would be better spent doing something else, instead of this particular chore over and over.
So they've become a Danny Tanner from Full House who's just cleaning all the time.
I know the reference.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think and she says, once we decide which tasks are those priorities and which ones are not, then we also agree on the standard, meaning how well or how often something should be done, and then divide from there. And something she talked about was, say that, one of us takes on the task of, she gave the example of baseball. Our kids don't play baseball.
Okay.
But it's not just driving the kid to baseball. It's also making sure that they have the snacks they need. They have the equipment they need. It's all the details that go along with that task.
Okay. That frees your spouse up to not have to spend mental energy on that, maybe.
Right.
It seems like an efficient way to handle a particular chore.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I may have to read the book. I thought it was really helpful and practical, but it also got me thinking, as couples who follow Christ, because this is not from a Christian perspective that the book is written.
Right.
Should our ultimate focus be on what feels fair to us? Or, I mean, fairness is good, but is there a deeper motivation that should guide how we divide things at home?
Yeah, it's a funny thing. The term fair, when I think of the word fair, on one hand, it feels like, yeah, of course, things should be equal and you should have equal opportunities and stuff. But at the same time, some things are not fair, like forgiveness is not fair. If I do something to harm you and I ask for forgiveness, your extending forgiveness to me is not fair. It's not right. It doesn't make any sense. It's illogical. But that's what God called. I said it's not right. Of course, it's right, but it's not natural.
Right. And
but the guy calls us to be unfair in extending forgiveness.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things like that in Scripture that turn things on its head.
Grace,
so to speak.
Mercy, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Love.
Well, we're going to talk about, what that deeper motivation could be. But first, we're going to take a quick break.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Health insurance rates are surging in America, leaving millions without affordable options. But Christians don't need to waste money on a broken system. Christian Healthcare Ministries is an alternative to health insurance at half the cost. With CHM, fellow believers contribute monthly to help pay each other's medical bills while lifting one another in prayer. It's financial and spiritual support when you need it most. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
So before the break, we talked about Eve Rodsky's Fair Play system, which lays out 4 rules for dividing household responsibilities more equally. And it's definitely a creative and helpful and practical tool. But we also rose the question that as couples who follow Jesus, is fairness supposed to be our end goal, or is there something deeper we should be aiming for?
Yeah, this is good stuff.
Yes. Well, Dr. Greg Smalley from Focus on the Family encourages us to put our energy into trying to outserve each other and points to Galatians 5:13. So here's what he says. Let me quote just a little bit from the article, which I'll have a link to in the show notes. Well, the Bible doesn't give guidelines on household chores such as vacuuming the living room or folding T-shirts. It tells us we should serve each other in love. And the truth is that love is best expressed by showing up day after day and doing the little things that strengthen our marriage over time. And yes, those little things include washing dishes, folding laundry, sweeping, vacuuming, and making dinner.
Yeah. I've got a couple of ways I could go with this. One is the cynic in me is thinking, well, yeah, I challenge you to outserve me. Please, right. You got this.
Uh-huh.
Okay. The other thing I was thinking was, I remember, when I was younger, like 20 years ago. I mean, I was younger yesterday, but 20 years ago. And the issue of tithing. And I was like, I'd rather maybe envision myself dropping in a $3,000 check, a big, home run kind of amazing thing rather than $10 a week,
Right.
So
this idea, that fits into this idea of maybe it's better to do that $10 a week with the little faithful things than wait for some big efforts or big show.
Big showy kind of service. Right. Yeah. The day-to-day of making the bed or doing the laundry or wiping the counters or something. Yes. It's perhaps more meaningful than a big show.
Right. Well, and this idea of you make the bed every day, which I appreciate. I see it made and it makes the room it just makes it feel tidy, like the day has started. Yeah. And I go, Ted loves me. He made the bed this morning.
There you go.
Although when you forget to make it because something comes up, then sometimes I joke with you, you don't love me as much today, which is not true. It's just that life happened. Well, and maybe this is, Eve Rodsky, fair play. She turned it into a game. Maybe that's what this is, this game of trying to outserve each other.
Because
it only works. No, it only works if both people are trying to do it. If both people are playing.
Like if you're a team.
Exactly. It's a very team-oriented.
We are on brand.
Yes. Yes, we are. Okay, so how do we make chore division less about just being fair and more about actually serving each other well? So I have 3 practical ideas on how we can do that.
How about divide and conquer?
That is my first idea. Yes, divide and conquer. So we often divide and conquer when it comes to like handling our daughter's schedules and driving them places. So this idea of dividing and conquering isn't new to us.
Right.
But what can that look like when it comes to household chores? So Suzanne Gosselin, who's an author and also one of our good friends, offers 3 simple ideas for how couples can divide household duties. The first one, she says, is divide by strengths. So Suzanne encourages couples to focus on what they're good at. For example, if one of us is better in the kitchen, that person can cook and the other can take care of the cleanup. And I think we do that in a sense of not necessarily like, oh, you're cooking and I'm cleaning up, but you're better at making this dish, so you make this dish, and then I'll clean up.
Right. So we're talking about me smoking some ribs the next week, within the week or something. So yeah, I'd take care of that. And you might
make a chicken pot pie.
Chicken pot pie or a lasagna or something.
Yeah, or salsa.
There you go, salsa.
Right. So when we divide by strengths, we can use our strengths to serve each other. So we're not just considering what we want to do and what we're good at, but how it can also benefit our spouse and benefit our household. All right. Well, the second idea that Suzanne has on how to divide is divide by preferences. And she shares about a couple she knew who agreed they each got to opt out of the one chore they really hated, like cleaning the cat's room.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And she says that having one thing we almost never have to do can bring a real sense of freedom and healthy interdependence. It was a hard word to say there.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if we're opting out of it, it means our spouse is taking it on, which is something we'll talk about, the attitude that can go with that. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because on one hand, it's pretty selfish. If I'm like, I don't like cleaning up the room where the cat pees on the floor and the wall and the counters.
Yeah.
And other places.
We have one cat who's just an anxious peer.
Yeah. It's pretty selfish, isn't it? For me to like make that request that be your
Well, I think this is where conversation comes in because it could be, say that I equally hate it. I don't think I hate it as much as you do. So, but if I did equally hate it, then maybe it's one of these things of saying, all right, this is the one we both wish we could opt out of. So let's rotate. Mm-hmm. I'll serve you this week by doing it and give you a break. And you serve me this next week by doing it and giving me a break.
Here's maybe a better example. Because like cleaning the cat room, anybody can do that. It's like there's no reason a normal bodied person can't clean a room.
Right. I mean, I think like
this is preference.
When women are pregnant, they can't clean kitty litter boxes. But
that's a good point.
That's not an issue for us. We're done having kids.
Maybe.
Yes, we are.
But I was thinking of another example that's like long drives. I don't do well driving long distances sometimes.
Right.
So that's a little different because I think there might be some psychological factor in there that handicaps me when I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's
not just a preference. It's like there's something going on with me when I.
Yeah. Well, and I think that has to be taken into consideration with preferences. And I don't mind the long drives. And sometimes I'm an anxious passenger. So it's better if I'm just the one driving.
Especially when I'm driving.
Yes.
She's nodding. Carry on.
All right. So the third way that Suzanne says we could divide chores is by load. So she explains that when she and her husband were both working outside the house, they split things up almost evenly. But now that she's at home with the kids, she naturally takes on more of the load. And I think we both work from home, but you tend to have more work on your plate than I do. So I will pick up extra things on the load. I mean, we're coming up on a season where I'm going to be editing 2 books at the same time.
Developmental editing.
So we might be dividing things a little more evenly, in the next month or 2.
Sure.
But I think for the spouses who are at home and maybe take on more of the load, which is something I do tend to regularly do,
right.
I think that means doing it with a good attitude and choosing not to be resentful when that division might not feel fair.
And for me to be aware if I observe you being overburdened by too many chore responsibilities.
Yeah. And I think sometimes that's where for us we go, this one doesn't matter as much. It can just knock it done for a month.
Go.
like
Right.
mopping the floors. I did finally mop them this week, but
Yeah,
we were in a
they
busy
look great.
season, so I hadn't mopped them for a while.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take a short break, but keep listening. When we come back, we'll share 2 more practical ways to share the load at home in a way that doesn't just keep things balanced, but also loves and serves each other well.
At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than money. It's a way to support the people, causes, and community you love. Because helping you put your faith into action is at the heart of what we do. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Americans have a big healthcare problem. Over 100 million citizens carry medical debt while paying for overpriced and complicated health insurance. As Christians, we don't have to pay for a broken system. Christian Healthcare Ministries is an alternative to health insurance at half the cost. Plus, you can enroll at any time. Stand up to health insurance with a biblical solution. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
So before the break, we were talking about how dividing up chores isn't just about being fair, but it's also about finding ways to serve each other. We talked about dividing and conquering as a way to figure out how to divide the chores and still serve each other. But let's look at 2 more practical ways.
Okay.
So the second one is volunteer for a dreaded chore. So, like, I meant the key word here is volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mentioned how Suzanne touched on having a hated chore we get to opt out of. And we talked a little bit about
And this is
that.
kind of the converse, the obverse.
Right. But what if we take that a step further and we volunteer for one of those chores our spouse dreads? Not as a martyr or anything like that, but we just say, hey, you know, like I could say, Ted, I know you really don't like doing the long distance drives. I don't really mind it. So I'll do that. You know, something like that. Or you make the bed. I really don't like making the bed. I don't know why.
I've gotten really good at it.
Yeah. You have.
I have.
So, you know, if we volunteer for the ones that our spouse doesn't want to do, or maybe just that dreaded one, you know, it's a way to express love to our spouse in a very practical way.
Yes. That's my commentary.
Right. And I mean, that doesn't feel fair to take on a hated chore by choice.
Uh-huh.
You know, we're not sitting here negotiating over it. We're voluntarily just sacrificing. And I think it's, you know, it's just a simple way to love our spouse and serve our spouse.
Absolutely.
All right. You ready for number 3?
I am.
All right. Cover for each other. So even when we agree on who is going to do what, sometimes we just don't get a chore done. Like life happens, work runs late, kids' schedules get crazy, one of us might get sick, or something unexpected pops up. So even if we've agreed, hey, that one's your job, sometimes it doesn't get done. And instead of saying, wait, that's on you, we can choose to step in and cover for each other.
A little grace. I mean, the real world is the real world. Stuff comes up.
Right.
Yeah. So that's reasonable.
I think it's taking the pettiness out of things. Like, say, you know.
Weren't you supposed to do the kitty litter box today? Sorry,
Right.
I wasn't able to get to it. I've been driving and doing this and that, and maybe you could take care of it.
Yeah. So, you know, covering for each other rather than saying, well, I guess you'll just have to do it tomorrow. You know, I mean, sometimes I will cover for the trash for you.
Yes. And I'm grateful.
Yeah. I'll be like, it's okay. I'll roll it out in the morning because I'll be up early anyways.
You did that today?
I did. Well, that's because we were supposed to have a storm last night.
Yeah.
You were going to take it out. And I was like, ooh, if it storms, it's just going to fall over and make a bigger mess. Uh-huh. So, all right. So ultimately, it's not about perfectly sticking to our assigned chores or what's fair. Instead, it's about staying on the same team and helping each other out when things don't go as planned.
That's a great summary right there.
Good. Well, let's recap
the
episode. How do we make the division of chores and household tasks less about just being fair and more about actually serving each other? We talked about 3 practical ideas. Would you like to review them?
I would. Divide and conquer.
Good.
Second one is volunteer for a dreaded chore. And the third is cover for each other.
Good. All right. Well, it's time for one more short break. When we come back, we'll share this week's Us Time Challenge.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Americans have a big healthcare problem. Over 100 million U.S. citizens carry medical debt, but that's not the whole story. With health insurance, your out-of-pocket and monthly costs are way too high. You get surprise bills, denied claims, and poor customer service. That's a serious burden. As Christians, we don't have to pay for a broken system. Christian Healthcare Ministries is an alternative to health insurance at half the cost. You can enroll at any time and join a proven faith-based solution that's both reliable and affordable. CHM isn't just help, it's financial and spiritual support when you need it most. Families across the country count on CHM to step in during their hardest moments, and it works. Stand up to health insurance with a low-cost biblical solution. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
For this week's Us Time Challenge, I was waiting for that. Willingly take on a chore your spouse hates. You don't have to do it forever, but maybe do it this week. Although they'd probably appreciate it if you did it forever. But it's a simple way to show love in action, and it might just spark deeper connection in your marriage.
It's good. Yeah, the big chore for me that I hate doing is giving myself a back massage. Maybe you could help me out with that.
All right. Yeah, I think I can do that. Okay.
And on that note,
thanks for joining us on the Team Us podcast. We're looking forward to next time as we keep talking about how grace, commitment, and cooperation can help couples live the everyday moments of marriage together.
Team Us with Ted and Ashley Slater is a production of Life Audio and Salem Media. If you liked what you heard today, please take a second to rate and review the podcast in your favorite podcast app so that more listeners like you can find the show. For more faith-filled, inspirational podcasts, visit us at lifeaudio.com.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.